The desert at night can be a lonely and frightening place, with only the stars and the moon to light the way. For one group of travelers, the desert held more than just isolation and darkness. The group was making their way through the desert, trying to reach their destination before dawn. As they drove deeper into the night, they noticed that something was off. The sky grew darker, and the air became thick with a strange energy. Suddenly, their car hit something in the road. They got out to see what it was, but found nothing there. They brushed it off and continued on their journey, thinking it was just a trick of the darkness. But then, they started to hear strange noises coming from outside the car. It sounded like scratching and crunching sand. They tried to ignore it, but the sounds grew louder and more persistent. As they drove further into the desert, they saw a faint light in the distance. It looked like a campfire, and they thought they might have found some fellow travelers. But as they got closer, they realized that the fire was surrounded by hooded figures, with glowing eyes and twisted grins. They tried to turn back, but their car wouldn't start. They were trapped, surrounded by the hooded figures, who started to move closer, their laughter echoing through the darkness. As they huddled together in fear, they saw a figure emerge from the darkness. It was a woman, dressed in flowing robes and carrying a staff. She walked towards the hooded figures and they fell silent, bowing their heads. The woman approached the car and spoke in a language they couldn't understand. Suddenly, the car started, and they were able to drive away, leaving the hooded figures and the woman behind. But as they looked back, they saw that the woman had disappeared, and the hooded figures were now following them. They drove faster, but the figures only grew closer, which seemed impossible for them to be moving as fast as the car, and at the same time their laughter and chanting filling the car. It was so loud that it was deafening. They hit the gas and drove as fast as the car would go, and after a short time the hooded figures fell out of sight. Scared and confused, they started trying to make sense of it all. Finally, they reached their destination and fled from the car, running to safety inside of the small village that one of them lived. But they could never forget the terror they felt at night, and the feeling of being pursued by something inhuman and sinister, hidden within the darkness of the desert at night.